Welcome to Everyday Ethics, everybody. This is a Monday afternoon, and Persephone and I are here to provide you with high-quality programming. And remember that at 3:15 today, we will also be doing our Crime, Corrections, and Culture show. We very much appreciate the super chats and super stickers. And without me saying anything else, I'm going to turn it over to Persephone and see what she's got to add to the equation.
Housekeeping before we start, don't forget that at the beginning of next month, we're going to be picking one random Twitch subscriber and giving away either free merch or a copy of Down the Rabbit Hole. So please go and follow us on Twitch and go and watch on Twitch. Just leave it open. Watch on YouTube and on Twitch. Okay, so we got a. I don't want to call this a question because I didn't really see the question in it, but we got a comment
Do you want to call it a
on.
comeback?
No, I don't. We got a message on the website,
All right,
right?
then.
And I don't know who this is from. It's anonymous. So this person says, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about conversion therapy lately, and even some articles here and there. And whenever conversion therapy becomes a hot topic, I'm reminded of a friend that I used to have. He was a closeted gay from a Catholic background and conservative. We were very close, so close that he gave me a rare Superman comic on my birthday on the first year of our friendship. I knew he was conflicted, but when he told me that he was trying conversion therapy, I was completely horrified. I tried talking him out of it, but he saw it as a sin. He made it seem as though conversion therapy was just like therapy and that being gay might just be a result of trauma that could be reverse engineered. This took place about 10 years ago, and I stopped talking to him because I couldn't have a friendship with someone who essentially hated himself for the most irrational reasons. But I feel guilty because I think I'm the reason he even took conversion therapy to begin with. We were hanging out with some friends and I essentially outed him. I said, "Oh, yeah, like him," when someone was talking about a closeted gay person. I had the impression from then on that he was increasingly more closeted and conservative to the point that he wasn't acting as himself. Legally, I'm all for conversion therapy, but morally, I'm completely against it. I haven't seen him in years and I miss him dearly. He was my best friend. But after he started taking that therapy, I was afraid that he would commit suicide. That's the comment. Um, there wasn't really a question in there. Um, did you do you have anything to say about any of that?
Um, I mean, I'm not a big student of conversion therapy. From what I understand, it's bunk. Um,
Yeah.
I haven't done a deep dive into it to see, what the results are or whatnot. But I will address the root of it if you want. The root is the idea that being gay is wrong, which is fucking ridiculous. It's funny because before we came on the air, I was just scrolling through X, and the first thing I came across was Trump lying about his the picture where he's depicted healing the guy, and he says that he said he didn't mean it that way. He was depicting himself as a Red Cross doctor, which is obviously a lie. But the point is just that it's religious crap. And then I saw something with Christopher Hitchens where somebody asked Christopher Hitchens, if God isn't real, then why don't you just stay home? Why do you feel the need to, try to convince everybody of it? And he really got into it. He said, look, he said, if somebody's serious about their religion, like if they really believe this stuff, then they're hoping for the end of the world. And he gave a lot of, examples of this. But it's just so freaking irrational. And the fact that I'm sitting here in 2026 on a computer doing a podcast with a woman who's in another continent, broadcasting to people in multiple continents, And we're still talking about what people wrote thousands of years ago that depicts some of the most ridiculous fucking stories you could imagine about a person surviving in a fish for 3 days, about a woman being turned into a pillar of salt, um, somebody rising from the dead, feeding 5,000 people or whatever it is with one fish or two fishes and a loaf of bread or some ridiculous thing. So the fact that we base so much of our society on that nonsense irks me. What also irks me and always has, and I'm sure somebody out there is going to take issue with this, you shouldn't criticize people's faith. Okay, so I shouldn't criticize the faith of people who think that I'm going to hell, that the people that I care about most are going to burn in hell for all eternity, would like to see this expedited to happen as quickly as possible so that they can go live in paradise, right? Who think that laws should be passed to in favor or in support of their ridiculous beliefs, who post shit in the name of our government about he has risen, right? I'm supposed to just respect all that, but they don't have to hold back and respect my viewpoints, right?
No,
Oh,
because
even though,
they're the
hold on,
chosen people.
yeah, my viewpoint forces nothing on them. They are free to believe whatever nonsense, whatever bullshit they want. But when you're talking about this conversion therapy, if it weren't for those ridiculous views, nobody would give a shit. Like, I don't, I don't care what I'm attracted to. I'm not out there saying, I like, well, I mean, the problem is I like a variety of women, but if I were only attracted to pretty women with glasses who wear cat headphones, right? Or my girlfriend is a short Italian woman with big breasts. So let's say I'm only attracted to short Italian women with large breasts. I would not feel the need to go to a psychiatrist to, treat that out of me. The
Yeah.
only reason people feel the need to get that stuff treated out of them is because people think it's a sin. And that is fucking absurd. And it's I don't know what else to say or how much I'm laughing at Persephone's husband, whom I'm not really attracted to, by the way. But if I were attracted to Salem, I would not feel the need to go out and get treated for it because I don't believe homosexuality is a sin. Now, if you've ever read the story, Albert Ellis, the founder of rational emotive therapy, he was treating somebody who was afraid he was a homosexual, and he became obsessed with the idea of being gay. And Albert Ellis says, I could have just told him he wasn't gay, which he wasn't. But that doesn't solve the problem. He said the problem is he thinks if he's gay, he's going to be fundamentally flawed. And because he has that belief, he obsesses about it. Right? And once he gets over that, the obsession will go away and he'll no longer be concerned about it. And it's the same thing with these people.
I don't understand how you can say this religion is a good thing if it is telling a lot of people that they have to hate themselves, enforcing like ridiculous rules, and then if you get into like the more obscure religions, or the more like serious religions, enforcing some of the most bizarre like things. It's like, why would you want to live your life that way? So in the Mormon church, and I know like Mormons are out there. In the Mormon church, they don't necessarily have a problem if you're gay. Um, but if you are gay, you have to get married to someone of the correct gender anyway. So like, it's fine if you are gay, if you have those feelings, that's, completely normal, but you still have to get married and procreate. And I feel like that's just as bad as a religion that says, oh, well, if you're gay, then, you're going to hell. Because why would you want to follow a religion that makes you hate yourself or makes you live your life in a way that is not what you want it to be or what it should be?
Well, so my answer to that is, if it were true, right? If the religion were true, I would want to follow it. I'd believe it because it were true. The point is this stuff is fake. It's not
Yeah.
true. It's just not. I've had so many debates with so many people from so many different religions, and it always, it's just, it goes nowhere because you're dealing with people who are fundamentally irrational. Now, there are people that can separate their religious beliefs. I guess they call them, what do they call them? Cafeteria Catholics, or Sunday Christians, or whatever.
Yeah.
And, they live their lives predominantly with reason, but they pretend, or whatever, they compartmentalize, and they believe that, that stuff. But if you look to, for somebody to really hardcore believe it, in Christianity, they explicitly tell you it's an act of faith, right? You believe on faith. And I suppose that's where you really need to sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Draw the line, or prepare for the sort of intellectual fight, is at the core, at the fundamental point, that it's reason versus face. For reason versus
Yeah.
faith. I'm sorry, not reason versus face. You don't want to have reason versus your face. That wouldn't be good.
So Kathy asks, what is the most common argument you hear from people you debate on religion?
Oh God, I don't know. The most common. I don't know if there's a single most common. I've heard a lot of them. I've engaged a lot of arguments with religious people. I don't know if there's a single most common one.
I love the argument. I love the argument that some people make. Well, if you're not a Christian, then what's to stop you from going out and, murdering people or stealing or, just generally being a dick? And that one is always very funny to me because it's very much like telling on yourself. If you say, if I didn't have Sky Daddy to tell me that if I stole from someone I was going to burn in hell for eternity, then I would go out like raping and pillaging. I think that says more about the person who's asking the question.
It well, it does, but it's also irrelevant because that doesn't attest to the truth or fiction of the thing. That talks about having a motive to believe it, not whether it's true or false.
Yeah, that's also true. So the other part of uh, this comment that we got is that, they cut their friend off for basically doing this, for going to conversion therapy. What do you think about that? Would you do the same?
Oh God.
I mean, obviously it's up to every person to decide, like.
The problem is that I have isn't it's that it's the degree of self denial, the degree of irrationality, the degree of denying oneself that I would have a real problem with. It's like a friend of mine once asked me, right? And it's almost a catch-22. So a friend said to me, "What if you were in a relationship with a woman and you come to find out she used to be a man and now you're in love with her?" He says, "What would you do?" And I said, "Well, I would end the relationship." And I said, the problem is, I said, had I been told at the beginning, then I wouldn't have got involved because this is a
Yeah.
dude. I said, and at this point, not only that, but I have somebody who's been lying to me all this time.
Mm.
Now, that's obviously the extreme, but in this case, you've got a situation. I also had another friend who had a friend that was a cross dresser. Not gay, just like to dress up like a chick and go out. Weird, but whatever. You know what I mean? And he told me that his main problem was that the person didn't trust him enough to tell him. And it's a similar dynamic here where you've got somebody who won't be true to themselves, who's trying to deny who they are and irrationally trying to change that. That's the stuff that I would have the issue with. And I don't know, I would need a much broader context. How good of a friend am I to this person? How reasonable is this person in other aspects of his life? Why has he accepted this conclusion that there's something wrong with this? You understand what I'm saying? So there'd be a lot more to it than just going to conversion therapy.
Mm. So Akira says Howard Rourke cannot be friends with Peter Keaton. Keaton. Keaton denies himself he's living by the standards of other people, not his.
That's the good point right there.
Yeah. So you sent me a tweet.
Hold on one second. So I wanted just to, there's a couple arguments I've heard for the existence of God. One is that given that there's an absolute morality, there has to be God. But the person starts with that assumption and doesn't prove that there's an absolute morality. So you don't know what they're just saying these things are wrong. And because they believe they're wrong, there must be a God. Most people say, well, the order and design of the universe, that's just a common argument, shows that there has to be a God, because anytime that you see order and design, you would have to assume an intelligence behind it. To which I respond, even if it were true that there's order and design, the problem with that is whenever I've seen something that's designed, it did indeed imply a designer, and that designer was an entity that was a physical entity that also had a brain and nervous system, which of course they're not arguing that God has. So if they wanted to take the complete implication of what they're saying, it would lead to a physical God. One of the responses I got to that was that there is a... God has spiritual brains, which is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. It's also questionable. They say the perfection in the universe, and I point out, well, what about kids dying? And then it goes to kids dying, wars, tsunamis, all types of things that are destructive. And they say, well, that's part of God's plan. You just don't know it. So now they're assuming the perfection in order to get to their conclusion, which they previously had said was a fact, was the design. Now they're assuming it. So there's been a few of these.
Religion is tiring. And
It is. If they
arguing
didn't
about
affect
religion is tiring.
Yes, if they were just people who wanted to believe what they wanted to believe and didn't insist on affecting the rest of us, it wouldn't even matter. But the problem is they do want their beliefs to affect, not all of them, but I mean enough want their beliefs to affect everybody else. So, you end up in a war with a primitive fucking country halfway around the world. And that's what we have.
I also just think, a personal story, but, I think religion makes people behave in it can make people behave in very stupid ways and ways that are detrimental to their own well-being long term. So I know too many people who stay in marriages that are terrible and with people who treat them awfully. And the reason that they stay, that they themselves admit, is, well, you're supposed to stick it out. And, when you get married, it's before the eyes of God. And I'm just like, what a dumb reason to stay married. Like, you're miserable. You're miserable. Your husband is miserable. Your kids are miserable. And you're staying married because of religion.
Persephone, as an aside, did you share all the articles that I sent you today?
Mm-mm. Not yet.
All right, then.
I will.
Okay, did you share with Mr. Deagle, although he's not here, the Kant stuff?
No, I sent him a message and I asked him for his email address.
Did he give it to you?
No.
He wants to retain his anonymity. I thought you could just post that to the Patreon, but
Oh,
I guess I was wrong. I guess I was mistaken.
I mean, I can do that. That's actually not a bad idea. I'm going to do that. Mr. Deagle, if you're in the audience, I'm going to post it to Patreon.
Yes, I had quite the argument with Claude and what's the other one, Grok, on Immanuel Kant the other day. Did you happen
Mm,
to read through it, Persephone?
some of it, but I just I don't want to read about Kant. He's both of them awful.
Okay. So yeah, we could get to the stuff that I sent to you. I mean
I,
the thing because that deals with our griftathon that we've been dealing with.
yeah, so Akira asked the question, have you guys ended friendships over self-hating or self-harm? No.
I don't have friends that are self-hating and self-harming. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't either.
The friendships that I've generally ended is because people's were dicks to me.
What have I don't think I've ended like I don't think I've actively ended any friendships. I've drifted away from people, but I don't think I've ever actively ended a friendship with someone. And Kathy makes a good point. Some people like religion because it makes life's decisions for you. You don't have to think. They don't have to think for themselves. Yes, that's 100% true. Tim Minchin has a very good song called "The Good Book,"
Who?
where Tim Minchin,
Tim mention?
Tim Minchin, Minchin.
All right, because it sounded like you were saying to mention, like to say, to
Oh,
mention this here is just not a good place.
Tim
All right, I
Minchin
don't want to
has
hear
a
about Tim mention anymore. Can we
he has a
get
very
to?
good song called "The Good Book." Go and listen to it. So you sent me one tweet that says, "And then we all crashed out because Trump posted a meme."
Yes, this is Jack Posobiec. Can you
Yes.
Can you give it? Can you put it up here?
Yeah, sure. Give me
Bye,
2 seconds.
Nicole.
Bye, Nicole. Ugh.
Of course, Jim Valiant knows Tim Minchin.
Well, that's because James is amazing.
Old, yes, old.
No, you know, rude.
Well, I'm a truth teller.
No, you're mean, is what you are.
Oh, come on, that's not right.
Storm is the best of mention. I agree. I agree, James.
Oh, here we go.
This is. Oh, I'm sorry. That's funny.
Does the Enchantador also like this guy?
No,
I
just
wouldn't
me.
think so. Yeah, wouldn't think so. I gotta hang out with the Enchantador. That's what I gotta do. That's what I would look to do.
He is very funny. Okay, here's the tweet. And minimize.
Okay. So Jack Posobiec, and I've actually seen the other thing. He's talking about this meme that Trump posted where he's doing the healing, and he says, and then we all crashed out because Trump posted a meme. He's mocking the people who were upset by this. He has previously called pictures depicting people as Jesus as blasphemous, most notably George Floyd. Again, when you see that type of contradiction, it is a good indicator you are dealing with a grifter. He's not concerned with intellectual consistency. He's concerned with supporting his team and making some money. What do you think, Persephone?
I've seen. I opened Twitter today and immediately closed it because the my whole timeline is just this image of Trump as Jesus and the people arguing that it's actually not that bad, they fall into like one of two camps, right? Well, he didn't actually make the image, so therefore it's fine. Well, no, it's not because he's still sharing it. He shared it. He's endorsing it. He's saying, "Yes, look at this amazing picture where I'm depicted as Jesus." And then the people saying, "Oh no, he's not Jesus. He's a healer. He's healing the nation." And it's like, I mean, if you want to be extremely charitable, but everybody with a functioning brain can see that that image is in the style of all of the other depictions of Jesus. And that's obviously what it was trying to evoke. Like whether or not he was actually Jesus, it doesn't matter. The whole point remains the same. And it's just like it's shit that he posted it. It's shit that someone made that, because that makes me worry about that person. Do you really think that Trump is healing the nation? Whoever made that picture, like, do you genuinely think that? Do you think that Trump is doing good things for America? Because, eh. And then everybody's saying, oh, well, because it's not Jesus, you can't be upset, or because this, you can't be upset, or.
What's
And
wrong?
then
What
Trump
happened?
himself. I did post it, but I thought it was me as a doctor. I mean, that's a lie. And had to do Red Cross. Only the fake news could come up with that one. What? The
Yeah, I'm trying to find this here, but they don't. It's all over the. If you look at, I was trying to find the exact thing that Posobiec posted, but if you look, there's articles all about his hypocrisy. I just can't find it. I had it earlier, the actual thing. But yeah, I mean, this is what and people go to these guys for information. And if you were going to Jack Posobiec, Gunther Eagleman, Dave Smith, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, or any of the rest of them, you were going to be screwed. And not in the good way.
No, it's just bad. Also, what do you think the driving force is behind creating an image like that? Because do you think that whoever made it, Nick someone or other, Nick Adams, I want to say,
I have
the
no
person
idea.
the
I have
person
no
who
idea. I
the
don't know.
person who made that image, like, what I don't even know what I want to say. Michael really hates that Eagle Gunter guy. I've only seen him from you.
Oh, he's such a. Oh, God, I don't even want to say it. It's so vulgar what I would have to say. He's really a despicable human being. So I don't know what the motivation is. I mean, I could speculate. It could just be grifting. It could be that they really believe Trump is the savior because people actually believe that. They might just think it's funny. Some people think he's just taking it out on the Pope. He's because Trump is mad at the Pope. He's got in an argument with the Pope right now. Jim says grandiose narcissism. I tend to think that's why Trump shared it. But the creator of the meme, I don't know. And in the version that Trump posted, it's actually slightly different than the original. In the one that Trump posted, the soldiers in the back, there's a demonic like figure in the center. And I don't know. I just know it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that I'm in 2026 and I've got the president of the strongest, most advanced country in the world posting a religious picture of himself.
So the badged patriot said the photo on the left everyone is flipping out over wasn't made by Trump. It was made by Nick Adams
Yeah.
with a context Trump is healing the nation, which is why I think Trump truthed it. He also made the photo on the right. So, and it's another picture of like Trump. And if this person is trying to tell me that this is not like
Okay.
Jesus, hold, wait,
Well,
wait,
let.
here's the other one.
Oh, my Lord. The devil
Yeah.
hates this. Okay. So, look, there's no devil dummy. That's the first thing, right? Like the idea that somebody believes in such a being as devil makes make my head want to explode. It's so damn ridiculous. The devil, the enemy. I mean, it's so stupid and ridiculous. That's the first thing. Secondly, the idea that Trump is healing the nation. I mean, it's in a religious context, what makes it worse. But even outside of a religious context, even if I liked Trump, even if I liked him, the idea that he's healing the nation, like, oh my Lord.
So I'm sorry, it just needed a small tweak, and glory is given to God who is guiding Trump.
Yeah, again, like these people, this is nuts. Like, can we just tell the truth? To believe that, you're nuts. If you believe that God is guiding Trump, if any of that shit, you're bonkers. You're gone. And the fact that these people are impacting our lives is scary. It's scary.
Yes. Um, from a non-religious perspective, the fact that you think God is guiding Trump's decisions is bonkers. From a religious
Bunkers?
perspective,
It's bunkers?
bonkers,
All right, it's
bonkers.
bunkers.
Oh, I'm just throwing stuff on the ground. From a religious perspective, as someone who grew up religious, right, and whose family is still extremely religious and is thus surrounded by religion constantly, I think that if you post stuff like this and you are religious, I actually think that you're even worse than the people who like share it and aren't religious. If you are like deeply properly religious and you post stuff like this, I your your principles might be fucked up, but you're betraying them anyway.
They are betraying him, and that's pretty obvious. All right. So we're going to wrap this up because we got 15 more minutes and we'll be doing what?
Crime
Crime,
corrections and
corrections,
culture.
and culture. It promises to be a great discussion. I hope every one of you is there for this. It's been a great show sometime. It promises to be great going forward as long as Persephone keeps reading, which she's supposed to read. This will be wonderful. Thanks, everybody, for participating in the discussion. Thank you, Persephone, as always, because you are wonderful no matter how much I make fun of you. And we will see you in 15 minutes. And if not, we will see you back here tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, folks, please be ethical.